Uh, yeah.
I'm here.
Hello there, boxing fans around the world. Thank you for joining us once again here on Talkin Fight for another episode of Friday Night Panel featuring boxing legend Tim Witherspoon, two-time heavyweight champion of the world, boxing historian and author Lou Eisen, Neil the Deal, and myself, Grumpy Graham, and we're ready to rock. We're going to start off with a few comments, I think, from Tim. If you can give us a
Neil
few
the Deal and Graham the Crump. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
like that?
if these boxers can have nicknames, I think we can too.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, go ahead.
We got a big fight coming up tomorrow night. The main card is Spence and Crawford, and you said you had a few comments to start off the show. So
Yeah,
the floor is
well,
yours.
Okay, guys, how y'all doing? And hey, all the people that's watching. I've been running around trying to stay in shape and stay healthy, stuff like that. So, and I was supposed to be on the show a couple of times too, and I think I missed them. So I said, let me hurry up. I got the grandkids over. So, I was watching real quick. I was watching the Spence. I watched Spence, and then I watched Crawford, and I said, well, that's easy for me to make a decision on who I think that could win, and it's the one that takes his defense down. Crawford is stronger, and to me, is a little bit more aggressive. But they neither one of them really have a good defense. Check it out. I was watching. I said, look, I ain't gonna make no statements unless I really dig in. I'm good at defense. They quick with their hands, and that leads you to believe that they or like you can't tell if they have defense or not because they're busy really beautiful with their offense and they get the guys out of there. And they don't never get pressure enough for people to say, wait, hey, he got hit with that shot. So both of them good offensively. Crawford is a little bit stronger. And to me, I think he's more confident than Spence. But Spence is confident. But I think Crawford, and he has everybody against him. But to me, it's going to boil down to who don't put that hand in the right place and get hit with a shot. Everybody's saying this I'm going to win. I think that's going to win. Coming from experience, either one. Even though Crawford's strong, as Spence catch him, he could really make a big difference in it. Because to me, neither one of them have a good defense. You can't tell because they throwing punches all the time and knocking guys out. That's my assessment.
I disagree.
Hang on, Lou. I just want to find out before, in case Tim has to leave quick. So
no. Okay.
Who are you picking? That's what I want to know.
Whoever get hit first and make that mistake because that's what I should have said at the end. That's what I should have said at the end. I know the boxing. I'm really good at defense. I know that there's a lot of trainers that can't teach defense. They say your best defense is the offense because they don't know how to teach defense. Now, you said you disagree with me, and you have every right to, but I actually was in the ring, and I have one of the best old-time trainers there was. I'm not better than nobody. But from this little bit of experience that I have, I'm just only stating that. Now, if you had a trainer or people that are good boxers around you, I respect that fact. But I'm just saying to you, and you can disagree, and we still family.
Right,
but the bottom line,
disagreeing with everything you said. I just with one point. I just think they're a bit better defensively than they're given credit for. But I understand what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with what you said. What I'm saying is Crawford and everyone.
Can you tell me? I didn't mean to cut you off. Can you tell me the defensive, some of the defensive things? If you know defense, tell me what you think.
Yeah, I agree with you. Crawford often gets hit with shots. A guy like that at that level shouldn't get hit with. But I also think
no, he's a boxer. And you got to get hit. But the thing is, the less your chances of getting hit if you know a little bit more defense. Go ahead.
Yeah, I pick Crawford. I guess what Graham's saying is, give us a name. I pick Bud Crawford by decision. I don't think either fighter's going to go out. I think both take a good shot. I think Crawford's magnificent, and I don't think he's respected other than Showtime Sean, I can't remember his name, Porter.
I think people like Crawford more.
Yeah, I'm Sean
Right.
Porter.
Even though
agree.
Spence is a gentleman. Spencer's a gentleman, but I think
Spence is
people
not a
like
gentleman.
Crawford.
Spence
Well,
is not a
he is?
gentleman.
He's not?
I've promoted Spence when he fought in Toronto. He was a gentleman then, but I've seen him since cursing in the ring quite a bit at different people.
Okay. He
not
need direction. He need direction. That's all.
And he was on a card with a Canadian fighter from Halifax. And the Canadian fighter.
How old is he? How old is he? How old is
Spence
he?
is in his 30s. 31
Okay.
or so.
He's still
No, I think he's
still a young
33,
buck
Lou,
learning.
33, and Crawford's
Yeah.
35.
So, yes, you're correct. And Spence was watching a fight between Canada's Custio Clayton and Boots Ennis. Ennis knocked Clayton out in 2 rounds. And after the fight, Spence said, Clayton shouldn't be paid. He's a bum. He's a nothing. He came just for the payday and he took the easy way out. And that's not true. He got caught with a good shot. There's no reason to disrespect a fellow fighter like that. And he did that.
That's
and that was
inexperience, though. Let me say this to you real quick. That's inexperience and the wrong and not the right people around him. People around me was telling me to be respectable, to respect certain people what they speak, and tell me to be a gentleman. He must don't have somebody around him saying, "Look, let's keep it this way." Don't you know what I'm saying? Don't say things like that. I would never let none of my boxers say anything like that.
But that's his responsibility. The same with Adrian Broner. I have no respect for Adrian Broner. Not because of being rude in the ring. That goes back hundreds of years because he beats up his ex-wife rather than give her alimony.
Yeah.
And so the fact that he goes on the air and says to the reporters or to the other fighters, you're whatever and garbage and I'm going to do this to your wife, that's not necessary. Boxing can't afford to lose more fans. Spence, when I knew him, was very quiet, very nice guy, phenomenally skilled. They both have great chins. I don't think either is going to be knocked out. I think it's going to go to a decision. I just hope it's not ruined by the judges. I just think that Spence is better defensively, and so is Crawford. I just don't think Crawford respects, other than the Showtime Sean Porter, I don't think he's respected anyone else he's really fought because he hasn't really. His skill level is so supreme. So this is I'll stop talking, but the premier matchup in the sport.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, it's a great matchup, and I just hope the judges don't ruin it.
Yeah, me too. Over to you, Neil. What do you think?
Well, guys, thanks a lot for having me out tonight. TalkinFight.com with the big man, Mr. Tim, and obviously the Schwab over there. We call him the Schwab. I'm telling you, I got something up my sleeve. I don't have any sleeves today, but I got it up my sleeve. Anyway, what I'm thinking, guys, exactly what you're saying. I really agree with you. The thing that makes the difference for me in that fight is if you look at the past fights, like the Mecca fights, Tim, you know, the like I talked about it on my show, the Hearns Leonard, right? The Mayweather Pacquiao Pac-Man fights. Like these are big monster fights. They come around every 10 years, 8 years, 5 years, whatever it may be, Lou. You know what I mean? This is a big one, and it's going to determine who is going to come out victorious. And they're both, to me, they're very close. I'm being honest. Tim, you've convinced me about the defense. Yeah, I've been watching.
That's what makes them close. Real quick. You can go ahead and speak. That's what makes them close. The defense. Now go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying that.
Go ahead.
I didn't really notice as much until you mentioned about the defense thing about 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks ago on the show here. And I've been watching that extensively with all the fights going forward. And Tim, you're absolutely right. These guys are not utilizing their defense. They're hoping that their offense, it's kind of like the Toronto Maple Leafs, Graham? They hope the offense is going to take them to the cup. But it ain't happening. So anyways, Tim, you were right. I'm looking at what I'm looking at. You guys will probably laugh. I said it on my show earlier on, Tim. I thought a lot about it with Lou and Graham and myself and Mike and Izzy, but it could be a draw. What do you guys think? Like, I mean, it's paying big money. The draw is paying big money, and that only sets up fight 2. Is that not true, guys? Or what?
Yes, to an extent. However, if this relates to the Inoue Stephen Fulton fight. After Inoue beat him up for 7 rounds and knocked him out in the 8th round, Fulton 2 days later said, "Well, it wasn't the best version of me, and I hope he gives me a rematch." And I can just hear Angelo Dundee in my ear saying, "Why do you get a rematch? Knockouts are definitive. It wasn't a split decision. It wasn't a controversial decision. You were knocked out cold. Therefore, there's no rematch. You did nothing to the rematch. You did your best. You lost. That's the way the sport has always worked." But people have been saying on the internet, you have to take it with a grain of salt, it'll be a draw or a split decision that's already been fixed. I don't think it's fixed. I just think there's too many incompetent judges in boxing. If it's a close fight and it's a decision, you split decision, then you get a rematch. If it's a disputed decision and it's unanimous, you could possibly have a rematch. But, as I was saying to Tim, I just hope the judges don't wreck this. The best judge in boxing is Steve Weisfeld. He's the gold standard. So I hope they get judges and not Tim Cheatham or other guys who are in their 80s. And,
where is Steve out of? Lou, is he a Las Vegas guy?
He works in Vegas, but he's from New Jersey. He came up to Toronto to train Canadian judges. And I was at a session where he was training them. And the look of incredulity, how stunned he was when a Canadian judge said, "Oh, I don't care about the guidelines. I can give a guy a round even if he doesn't land a punch just by looking good." And Steve said, "But that's not what the rules state. You get points for effective aggressiveness. If you avoid, if you get only hit 8 times but don't land a punch, you lose the round." And the guy said, "Well, I don't concern myself with that." And Steve said, "But those are the rules of the sport." And there's too many.
So in this fight, Lou, then just quick, like they're both Tim. They're both aggressive fighters, are they not, Tim?
Sorry.
You talking? No, it's okay. You talking about Spence and Crawford, or Inoue and
Spence Crawford, both aggressive.
Yeah, I think
they're both pressure fighters.
I think Crawford is.
I noticed that Crawford play a little more.
Crawford is a little bit more aggressive than Spence. Spence like the blocks a little bit more than he does, and he can put together his combinations. But what I'm really concerned about is getting hit with the counters. That's all. And if they counter real good, somebody's going to get hit with a counter. Now I think somebody might go down. They're in good shape. And they don't have the best defense. They have good offense, and you'll forget about the defense. Hey, man, he don't need no defense. He got a good offense. You'll knock him right out. Hey, suppose he drop that hand and get hit with a left hook, or drop that right hand and get hit with that one little shot. That's all it takes. And that's how crucial I am about defense.
That's it.
Huh?
Right,
well,
but
like I said, Lou,
yeah.
All those guys in the lightweight division, like Tim was saying, there's like so many of them now, and they're all talking about it too. If you guys, Graham will know online, Gervonta Davis has talked about the fight, his opinion of what's going down. Ryan Garcia talking about this fight. You know what I'm saying? So the way I look at it is, it's 50-50. Like one guy says this, the other guy says that. Like guys that are in the division. So
right, but you got to remember. You got to remember something. In the old days, they used to say, "Find out who Joe Louis is betting on, and then bet the other guy." Fighters are always notorious for picking the wrong guy.
Crawford is a little bit more like confident to me, just a little bit more. That's all.
And also Crawford.
That could be cocky too, or maybe a little arrogant. But
You don't want to be over. You don't want to be over cocky.
I'm confident. I'm not cocky or arrogant.
Yeah, Crawford's never been overconfident as far as I can see. One reason I picked Crawford, this is a guy that was shot in the head and drove himself to the hospital. This is a genuinely tough guy, and I've seen him get hit some good shots, and he didn't blink. His legs didn't buckle, his head didn't move. And when Spence fought Ugas tagged him some shots and buckled him. So
he broke his orbital bone, Lou. He broke him up.
Yes, he did. But before that, Ugas landed a couple of good shots. So yeah, he destroyed Ugas, no doubt about that.
Thank you.
But I still pick Crawford. But Spence has the reach and he's got the box. They're two excellent, great.
And he's a natural 147, Lou.
Right. He's always fought that. Crawford's come up in weight, but so did Pacquiao, so did Jimmy McLaren.
Tim will tell you how it works. Tim will tell him.
No, I'm just saying it's going to boil down to who get hit. Watch.
Yeah.
Either one of them can get hit.
Do you want to talk about Pitbull Cruz or Nonito Donaire? Because they're also fighting.
They're fighting each other?
No, they're not fighting each other.
I'll lay back on
Championship of the world. Is it Lou? Bantamweight, WBC Bantamweight Championship of the world. Nonito Donaire?
Nonito Donaire. He's the Bantamweight titles, but he's fighting Santiago, not
Santiago, yeah.
Okay. I like Pitbull Cruz. He comes to fight. He gives you your money's worth. He's in every round. Makes no excuses. He's always coming forward trying to make the fight. He gave Gervonta Davis a good fight. He didn't win. The other thing.
Him. That is a tough dude. That is a tough. Okay, I didn't know who you was talking about at first. Okay.
Shaved head.
It's a good card.
Yes. They call him Pitbull.
Yeah. Isaac.
That's exactly what he is too. Yeah. I like the way he pressured Davis. I like the way, and Davis respected him. He was coming at him. He changed his angles with his punches. He probably do a lot better with Davis because he's a southpaw.
One thing I wanted to touch on was after Inoue knocked out Fulton, Stephen Espinoza.
Fulton was nervous. He was nervous from the very beginning. I know him from Philly. Go ahead. He was nervous.
Three belt champion. Every fighter's nervous.
I saw the fight. Yeah, I saw the fight. And him and his corner, they were nervous. That can determine a little bit of that in the beginning of that fight. I saw him nervous when he walked in the ring. I'm a boxer now. I got nervous too. And even the corner was nervous in the beginning. They fight one of the toughest guys in that weight class during this era. And
he's fighting the best guy in the world, I think.
Yeah, listen. What'd you say?
I think he's the best fighter on the planet right now.
Has anyone ever fought in America?
It depends.
Yet?
It depends.
Inoue is the best fighter on the planet.
He fought Donaire.
It depends.
He fought Donaire. There's one thing I wanted to say about Inoue.
In a way.
Right. People were saying, he could fight Lomachenko, or he should move up and fight Davis. That'll never happen. Going to 122 is a stretch for his body. The highest he could go to, I would say, is 125. But when you're looking at Loma, could come down to 125 because he makes 135 easy, or 130. But Davis is not coming down from 140 or up, and you can't expect Inoue to put on 18 pounds to take on Tank Davis. That's ridiculous. It's a fight we all like to see, but it just won't happen. The weights are just too far apart. Guys like Manny Pacquiao or Jimmy McLaren who went from fly to welter, those are very rare in the sport. But even though Fulton was nervous, and he's a great fighter, and he just beat Brandon Figueroa, and he did better than any other fighter that's ever done against him except Donaire in the first fight, he still got beat by a better fighter, and they slowed it down. They showed how he was jabbing to the body continuously to bring his hands down, and then came over top with the right hand. I mean, I don't think the outcome would be different in another fight. Fulton's a great fighter, but he's not Inoue. If this was an 8-belt era, like in the 60s, Fulton wouldn't be a world champion. He'd be a great contender. Inoue is the world champ. That's just the way it is, whether people like it or not.
No, it's the confidence that you have in your corner. When I went to England to fight Bruno, I was fully confident because I knew I had one of the best trainers during that time. You couldn't tell me I wasn't knocking Frank out. I'm just saying, when I went in there, I wasn't scared of anything. I was fully confident. You watched the video. I walked into the ring. I wasn't scared, and I was ready to fight for our country and the neighborhood that I was born and raised. I was representing. He didn't have the confidence when he came in there. He didn't have the confidence. You could look on his face when he walked in and everything. That makes a big deal before the fight. You got to get ready. You got to get ready. Now you said that once you got in a way to this and that, you got to be ready before you leave that dressing room, or else this is
that's on him.
That's what you're gonna see. I was in this situation many
If
times.
if you're not ready at the ring walk, you got a problem, I would think. No.
Well, did you look at his face and tell I'm a boxer? I looked at all of them when they was coming out, and they were nervous. They were nervous, and that's a big thing. They were nervous, and when you can look, when Anyway came out, you look at him. You look at the difference. When Fulton came out, you could tell. I was in his presence before in Philly in the gym. You could tell he was nervous.
Yeah,
that makes a big deal. No, that makes I'm a boxer. I'm telling you from
it's his job. It's his job.
I'm telling you from experience in my heart. I'm telling you from experience in my heart. If I didn't come out there with Larry Holmes and act like I was ready to knock his ass out, excuse my language, or beat him. Wait a minute. Then I had to be walking to that ring. You got to see it in me. I didn't see it.
I believe you.
You're trying to tell me you weren't scared of the Eastern Assassin? For real?
Hell no. I had my team behind me.
That's my man. That's why I like you.
I love Larry.
I believe you.
Go ahead.
But I believe you. But Customato said
every fighter goes in the ring. You know what I mean?
I understand Customato and the respect that he gets from everybody, but I have experience also. I respect Customato, but why you can't believe the way I understand Customato. I respect what he said, but I'm just telling you from my experience. I'm telling you from my experience. That's all.
Right, but that's not what I'm saying. Customato said every fighter experiences fear. It's whoever controls it best wins.
You just not answer my question. You just not answer my question. What? He was nervous.
Right, but you can't take credit from Inoue because Fulton.
That's the way it is. I didn't say.
Yeah, but you know what?
Yeah.
Online, everyone I know from Philadelphia, and good friends with Russell Peltz, everyone, Bam Bam, Hines, everyone, they all say the same thing. It wasn't right. It was, don't say Inouye's that great. It wasn't a great night. They just won't admit that a better guy beat the other guy.
No, a better guy did beat him. A better guy did beat him. So Fulton wasn't, listen, maybe he should have. Now, so this was the time he had to fight him.
Hey, Tim, he wasn't loose and floppy. You know what I mean? Loose and floppy.
The bottom line is this was his day. This was his day to shine, and he didn't come to the table.
That's right.
Fulton's not a knockout puncher.
There's a reason. There's a reason why. What'd you say?
Fulton's not a knockout puncher. He's more of a defensive master and a great counter puncher. But Inoue doesn't.
Now, I'm not going to say I'm good at defense, and he still had to learn some defense too. But he was okay getting out the way. But I'm telling you, these dudes don't have good defense. There's a little defense, natural defense, where you can move out of the way like Floyd Mayweather. But when you get tired, you're going to have to learn how to settle down and get that punch. Instead of losing your speed like that. It's kind of like a couple of different defense. When you get tired and those shots come, you got to be able to go boom. Not like Mayweather where they just move and get out the way. Your teacher going to have to show you how to block that punch and slip that punch.
Right, but as good as Mayweather was, I think James Toney was even better in the ring at that. James Toney was.
I talked to him about it. I talked to James about his role because sometimes he just keep going to the right. He keep going to the right, and I asked him. I said, "How come you didn't go to this side?" He said, "I did it every time I seen James fight. He would just keep going to the left. No, he'll come to the right and throw that right hand. Come to the right, and I told him, well, you on this side. How come you can't go to that side and throw the left hook?" He said he does it sometimes.
We don't do that.
But what happened to the? Y'all don't want me on here no more.
When
you see
Spence, me? Excuse me. Yeah, we can see you.
Oh yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't see you guys.
Well,
I can't see
count
you
your
guys.
blessings then.
No, I'm still here. I'm
We
here for
you.
5.
We're here.
Yeah, we're here. Your face is frozen on the screen.
Oh God, let me try to get back.
Seeing he's frozen.
Okay. What I
You're
was going
good,
to
Tim.
say
You'll
was,
get her. Just reboot her, refresh.
Okay.
so Tim, when James Toney beat Michael Nunn,
Yeah.
Angelo's in Michael's Nunn's corner, and he keeps saying to him, he's trying to sucker you into a left hook. So don't take a step back when he moves forward. Stand your ground. And Nunn didn't do it. And finally, Tony caught him with the left hook,
Right.
knocked him out. And when the fight ended, he looked at Angelo and said it was the left hook. He said, that's what I've been telling you for 10 rounds. Don't take your foot back. Stand your ground. Take it away from him. And fighters make mistakes. Nunn was a great fighter. But, and Fulton's a great fighter. He's just not a knockout puncher. And styles make fights. And, the Spence Crawford fight could be a bore. It could be the same guy in the ring against each other. And they might both be trying to feint each other for 12 rounds with nothing happening. Who knows?
Yeah. I'm just trying to come on. I think it's getting ready to pop on. It's just that,
You're better. You're better.
Oh, there we go.
Tim, when you fought Frank Bruno, you hurt him within the first couple punches you landed.
I cut my picture and then come up.
All right.
I can see you guys. I can see you.
Okay. Can I just jump on to another conversation? Quickly?
Sure.
Conor Benn. It's been about a year since he was suspended by the anti-doping agency in the UK. And I think it was either today or yesterday, he got reinstated. And this really confuses me. And Lou, I think you'll appreciate it. I have to wonder, for someone who's caught taking clomifene, which is a medicine used to enhance women, enable them to get pregnant, quite frankly. If you're getting caught with that, and then you say, well, I took too many eggs that day. I was eating too many eggs.
Yeah, he's lying.
Now a year goes by, and all of a sudden, the anti-doping authority says, "Oh, we were wrong. The test must have been." Anyway, I just think it took about a year for Eddie Hearn to figure out what it would take to get Conor Benn back in the ring.
I agree. Eddie Hearn's no less a criminal than the other people that run the sport. And I have no doubt he paid off the board. Because prior to that, the WBC said they had no problem with it. WBC is a criminal organization, and their fighters have used, anyways, drugs countless times. Canelo's got caught several times, and they essentially lie their way out of it. Science doesn't lie. Ben took the drugs, and after a year, Hearn's like, listen, how much do you want? This guy's a moneymaker. It's good for the sport in Britain. It's good for the sport for Britain and the U.S. because he's a good fighter. So let's just give you some money. Let's just get this behind us. You make the statement that it was a mistake. This has happened so often in boxing history. It's sickening. And Eddie Hearn's, he's just a crook. And
Lou, you told me about the, and I haven't forgot about it when you said that Eddie recently has been known to just go into, the fighter's room and try to recruit guys in the middle of events.
Right. And it
makes no sense to me, Lou.
Yeah. And
Lou, that's bad business.
It's not only bad business, it's injurious to your health. In the old days, he would have been killed for doing that. The mob
pretty much. Yeah, I was going to say they wouldn't put up with that part.
They just would have broken his legs or shot him. And these days,
his father never did that. I read about his father. His father was very upstanding, very well respected. So what happened? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. What happened?
Well, it did fall far because his father, if he wanted a certain fighter, he would call a Bob Arum.
Well, he pulled the old McMahon.
Right.
He
would call someone and say, "I like to represent your fighter. How much do you want for him?" And if the guy said no, okay, well, let's make a deal to talk again 6 months from now. Eddie Hearn will go into American arenas and say to whoever, I'd like to sign you. I can give you a better deal. And the other promoter, I mean, Bob Arum's got a lot of power. Don King had a lot of power because he had the mob behind him. And the mob is still very relevant in boxing today. And
Absolutely.
doing that is still a dangerous thing, which is why Hearn is quickly losing ground in the United States. You know,
Right.
and
so he's stepping on people's toes, and they're taking notice of it.
Right, they're going to squeeze him out. I mean, he signed Regis Prograis, but I don't know what he can do for Regis Prograis. It's like Adrian Broner signing with Don King. Well, Don's in his 90s and is no longer a force in boxing. Neither is Broner. So what Eddie Hearn done is just crossing the line. But what Graham mentioned, these guys do it all the time. These guys all the time say, what if I give you a couple $100,000? Boxing functions on only one principle, make money. It's like the mob. And their attitude is everyone can be bought. Just
you're only as good as your last fight type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you know, you could suspend a guy like Tyson for a year or 2 years or 3 years. And then if you pay off enough money, the suspension's lifted after a couple months. This always happens. Nothing changes. It's been this way for 300 years. I could name you 50 fighters in the past 100 years that have been like that, that were suspended for throwing fights, dealing with the mob, taking drugs, being inebriated.
All standard stuff, Lou. That's all standard.
Yeah. And if you pay someone off, it goes away. And that's what happened with Eddie Hearn and Conor Benn. And the sad thing is, it doesn't stop Conor Benn from taking drugs again.
Right. And as we all know, it's your choice. You can say yes or you can say no, and that's
right.
So, hey, guys, I wanted to talk about a fight that I've been looking at. Graham, you might have been looking at this one too. You talked about it this week on the boxing news, and Lou, I'm sure, and Tim. My little friend there, I really like her. Sinisa Estrada's fighting tonight. What do you guys think about her, Sinisa?
She's the girl who knocked out that other girl in like 19 seconds.
You got it. That's the one. And she's the one that I really like, guys. To be honest with you, she impressed me. I seen some documentaries on her. Her attitude is proper. Her father trains her. Her sister's a fighter. You know, like she's got everything in the box, Tim. She's got it all, and she's 24-0. And I think she's got some. I don't know. Like, what do you think, Lou?
I've seen a couple of women fight, but I just got to pay more attention, because if you would have said her name, I would have said okay. But I just seen in the last couple of days like two different girls boxing. It may be the one that you're talking about.
Sinisa Estrada, man, she really impressed me. Graham, you know what I'm saying? We've been looking at her for a few years, and she comes from a boxing culture, family. She's very, very well respected. And you know what? She puts in the time, Tim. You know what I'm saying? I seen her, and she's got the gumption to actually kick it up a notch. And you know what? She's doing it, and I'm really proud of her, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't follow women's boxing, so I know who she is, and I've seen her. I couldn't give a reason to comment about it.
Yeah, I just look at some. I'm always a critic of deep. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that for those fans out there who might not know, Sinisa Estrada's fighting Leonela Yodica.
That's it.
And it's for the WBC, WBA.
You didn't pronounce that name right. You didn't pronounce the last part of that name right. What was that you said? What was that? How you pronounce it?
Yodica.
Oh, okay. What nationality is she?
I'm going to hazard a guess and say Mexican.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you right now what she is.
I haven't looked. She's a pretty girl, that's for sure.
That's for sure.
But
no,
Graham, you're wrong. Graham.
Uh-oh.
Actually, I don't know. What's the flag on her?
Okay, hang on.
Check it out, Graham. It's blue and white.
Oh, she might be Argentinian then.
Argentinian. That's it. She's Argentinian. That's the flag right there.
Yeah, and that's for the WBC and WBA female minimum weight title.
Tonight it's going down Friday, July 28th. Ring walk, 11 p.m. It's saying here, right?
Yeah.
ESPN, right? Tim, you got any time, guys, or any
Yeah.
Talking Fight fans, Sinisa Estrada is she's the one for me, anyways.
Yeah, no, that's a good call, Neil. I didn't realize she was fighting tonight, and that's in Las Vegas as well.
Yeah, she is. After this.
I have one.
What's
comment
that say on your shirt? What's that say on your shirt?
Mine?
Yeah.
Toronto Blue Jays.
Oh, okay. The Toronto Blue Jays. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So what I was going to say about women's boxing and Sinisa Estrada and Clarissa Shields and all of them, if they want to get the same respect as men, then fight 3-minute rounds. Don't fight 2 minutes.
They want to fight 3-minute rounds, but according to
I would think they would want to. I don't think they care. I don't think they care.
But they only fight 2-minute rounds.
Yeah, but Layla McCarter already said. Layla McCarter said she thought. I mean, she if you check out Layla McCarter, what's her name there? Brooke did a big show with Layla, and you know what? That was one of the best women's interviews I've ever seen. And Layla McCarter is a big time lady who's an 8-time world champion. And you know what? She told us what was going down. If you want to check it out, check that out.
I don't believe that one.
She's great.
I don't believe it.
The one interesting fact, Lou, is all the women who we have interviewed that I know of on Talkin' Fight, and we've interviewed a lot. They've all said they would prefer a 3-minute round.
That's right. They don't want to be, any indifferent, right? They want to spit up the stairs. They want to spit up the stairs, but they don't like when you spit on the stairs, Tim? When you got to go. No spitting on the stairs, she said.
Change it to 3 minutes.
There, no spitting on the stairs, guys.
Change it. Why not change it then to 3 minutes? If the fighters want, let them do it.
Well,
yeah, that sounds good. That sounds cool.
If we were governing bodies, I'm sure we would change it.
Got some smart guys on the panel.
Listen.
Can I ask you a question there, guys? I've been watching this guy for many, many years, and he kind of disappeared. I didn't know what happened to him. I know we're getting a little bit off topic, but Tony Ayala Jr. You guys remember Tony Ayala Jr.?
He died.
Yeah, he did. I know, but what a boxing family, and what a great guy, and he had some problems as everybody does, but
he wasn't a great guy.
He was a really good one. What do you think, Lou?
He was a good fighter, not a great guy.
Right.
Okay.
Tony Ayala Jr., I wrote an article about him just after he died. It wasn't a shock how he died, an overdose of drugs in front of a boxing gym. This was a guy. This was a guy
at the family boxing gym.
Right, but this was a guy who they thought, I'm much older than you, so this is a guy who was fighting as a junior middle, and everyone thought he's going to be the guy to give Hagler the biggest fight of his career. He'll move up to 160. Didn't happen. Right. He went to prison for 33 years. He raped a woman, his next door neighbor who he was friends with. He had no problem. He had a girlfriend at the time. He had no problem being with women. There was no reason for him to do what he did. But rape isn't sexual. It's a power grab. And he did this, and he admitted it. And he went to jail for 33 years, came out, and tried to restart his career. And his life ended the same way Adrian Broner's life is going to end, and James Kirkland, and maybe Tank Davis. These guys are from the streets. You can't take the streets out of them. Tony Ayala Jr. was a great fighter. I saw him beat guys in under 30 seconds, but there was no discipline. It's why I get angry when people say to me, Ike Ibeabuchi would have beaten Lennox Lewis. That's complete crap. To beat Lennox Lewis, you have to have discipline and focus. And Ibeabuchi didn't have that. He went around beating up women, kidnapping, raping, and beating them up. That's not discipline or focus. So you can't expect a guy like that to succeed at the highest level. Boxing has a lot of people like that. The rare ones, like Lennox or Tim or Muhammad Ali, are very rare indeed. But there's a lot of guys like that. and anyone could do to help Tony Ayala.
But
that's
I
just the
was
way.
kind of worried. Yeah, real quick, you were making that statement. I was kind of worried about several of the boxing names that you said. I heard that they did certain things in the public that was really bad. And it's really up to the people that he grew up with, and like majority of them were Hispanic and black, right? That the names that you mentioned,
Mhm.
and you can go deep into really whatever you want to try to figure out how can you make things better. I would like to see them guys. You were saying they're gonna wind up messed up, and I don't want to say that. I don't want to say there's a way that we probably get help and talk to them, but it don't seem like it, because especially when they got money. If you understand what I'm saying, they got money. They're gonna keep on doing. They're not gonna listen more now. And when they didn't have the money and the prestige, they probably listened to more people. But now that they got finances and everything like that, if you know what I'm talking about, I'm talking about the Tank Davis and the guys that you just mentioned. They was beating up their girl. Never would beat up no girl or getting violence. And you do have a point there. And it's up to us, like guys like me and people that from the community, to try to steer these guys away from. But as it stands right now, it's going to be a hard task because they got money and fame, and beating up on them girls was bad. When I got 5 daughters, when I heard that, I said, "Wow, Tank, he beat the girl up, right, or something."
Yeah,
I was
went to
like,
jail for it.
how can you beat up a beautiful little young lady? I got 5 daughters, man. Now I hurt somebody over them, and you know what? I never put my hands on none of my kids, and I'm 65. I never put I already said real quick. My son Tim, he was 8 months old. I spanked his. I keep saying I spanked his leg because he wouldn't go to sleep. But other than that, I didn't even have to holler at him. He's 30 something, and I never hollered at him. I swear. And I got Shania, the one from England. She kind of rough and it's hard. I got to get her. But the rest of them, one of them, I did had to grip her up because she was running. She was trying to go with this dude. But other than that, everything has been good. But to see these guys, and they must have had really bad upbringing up, and whatever it is, I think that we should talk about trying to get it fixed too. Now you said what you said about them, but you should also say, I wonder if we could find a way to stop them. If you guys understand what I'm saying, stop them from beating up the girls or showing up in public, their name in public, them like in crime and stuff like that. That really sounds bad,
Right.
especially beating up a girl. I seen Tank grab that girl like she was nothing, then rushed over here, and I was like mad. I was mad at that.
Yeah,
I was mad because he did that, but then
I got to tell you that.
yeah,
I mean, it's also because of the racism.
I love them brothers. I love them. I love my sisters and brothers, but it made me feel bad when I seen them do all that.
Listen, here's the thing. I mentioned those guys because they were the most recent in my mind. But
Okay.
It happens. The white fighters that have been in boxing have committed way more crimes
Okay.
than fighters from minority groups. This is something we see in Canada and the United States, Tim. I don't know. It's probably the same in in Canada, and in the States, over 98% of violent crimes are committed by white people, meaning crime is racist. But even though they're over 98% are committed by white people,
it depends where you at. It depends where you at.
But all the newspaper coverage is of African Americans or Hispanics or other groups committing these crimes, even though the crimes committed by African Americans in the United States is less than 0.1% out of all the total crime committed. Over 98% of it's committed by white people. So it's the focus.
I didn't know that.
That's a fact from the state or from the American government. That's a fact. So blacks have been villainized, as you know, for over 400 years in the United States.
I understand.
But and this happens in boxing. So I could name you white fighters going back to Billy Papke, who fought Stanley Ketchel, and other guys like that who ended up, killing his wife and his children and himself, and the white fighters, hundreds of them over the last 100 years that had committed violent crimes in boxing and ended up the same way that Tony Ayala Jr. ended up. So I was just seeing people that happened to be
like I said, Lou. Like I said, it was a very it was of its time, and I mean, I guess it went wrong, but he looked like he had a really promising career.
It was probably. You're right. It was heartbreaking because he had so much talent.
And his father was his trainer when he was young.
Right.
Like, I mean, him and his brothers, right?
But his brother Mike became a world champion, beat Johnny Tapia.
That's right.
And Tony had more talent than God.
That's right.
And he wasn't beating bums. He was beating top 10 guys within a round or two and just brutalizing them. And just going to control his own demons. And his father was more concerned. As Oscar De La Hoya said about his father.
Can we get back to the Spence? Can I get back to the Spence thing with you guys? The Spence Crawford thing. I got a couple of things I want to talk about before we end it all, I guess, type of thing. Now, the way I see it, Tim, honestly, I'm gonna tell you what I think. All right, this is how I think. Spence, if he works the body the way he can work the body and wear down Crawford, that's his biggest asset right there. That's going to be the problem because Crawford has the ability to get in close and jump out fast. And get in close and jump out fast. And he's got really fast feet. His hands are super crazy, as we all know. And he throws combination punches from all angles, from both styles. He's actually southpaw and orthodox as good on each side. So the problem with that is the only thing I can see that's gonna switch it is if Spence pressures him hard and hits the body and actually takes him down from the body, Tim, and hope that he can. That I'm going to take Spence, guys. No, I'm taking Spence. You heard it right here.
I think Spence got longer arms, and if he just like when I fought Larry Holmes and he had a jab, we took his jab away from him. We had all these different. We had like 6 sparring partners with long arms throwing jabs, good jabs at me. So I do believe
it's
Spence.
The heavyweight division ever, Tim. The best jab ever, the Eastern Assassin.
And we made it, and he never touched me really with it. He never. We practiced on taking away, but we practiced on taking away. But Spence should practice on making that jab 100% if he can, and everything I think will follow in. But Crawford is like a tough. He coming in.
Yeah. Crawford's a smart fighter.
He's got to wear him down somehow.
I don't think he can. 101. Crawford switches so effortlessly from southpaw to orthodox and back. It's confusing to fight him, and he does it.
It's crazy
around. So
no, all you gotta do is stick your hand out. All you gotta do is stick your hand out. If he had the right trainer, and when this guy switched to the other side, all you gotta do is take your hand and push him. That's as easy as that. When a guy keeps switching back and forth, old timers taught me. When he keeps switching, just push him. Just touch him in it and he'll get off balance. That's how you defend the guy. This is just something small. That's how you defend the guy that keeps switching back and forth. As soon as he try to switch, touch him, push him, and he'll fall off balance. That's how I was taught to fight them. Go ahead.
Sean Porter knew that. Sean Porter knew that and couldn't do it. And Porter was a great fighter. So it's maybe easy for you, but during the course of an actual round, when he's doing it back and forth, it can be difficult and frustrating. It depends where they put their feet.
Well, they have to come to where them good trainers at to show them that it works all the time. It's not that hard.
Well, we'll see.
No.
I hope the judges don't ruin it. That's all.
I hope it ends in a knockout.
So let's just get okay. So I got Spence, all right, or a draw. I'm taking the draw. To be honest with you, that's my opinion.
I don't think it's going to be a draw.
What do you guys got? Who do you guys got? I got the draw and Spence.
I don't think it's going to be a draw. Wasn't they training for a long time?
They both should be in. Crawford by decision.
Okay. I got whoever gets hit the most and get wore down. That's to me, both of them don't have defense. But one is aggressive. Crawford is aggressive. I would look at him to maybe get better hard shots in, but really is whoever get hit the hardest and can't recover.
You know what?
Or else I would make a decision. I would make a decision, but that's what I see.
You know what's interesting? There's a guy on, we all can see, claiming that he's Errol Spence, making these comments on his side, but on the other part of my computer, I'm watching.
Is that really him?
On the other part of my computer, I'm watching Errol Spence live weighing in right now with Bud Crawford. So I don't know how one man can weigh in his underwear with Bud Crawford texting in his mind on a computer screen. Doesn't make sense.
That's how the producers at Talkin Fight can do it.
Hey, listen, we've got around.
The guy said I'm looking like a helicopter.
Yeah, that's right. Helicopter.
Go ahead.
With earphones.
Go ahead.
Before we finish the show, though, we were talking about families, and we were talking about families of boxers. And it is worthy to mention one of Canada's patriarchs in the boxing community passed away. Lou, if you can fill us in on the details, that'd be appreciated.
Yeah, Dave Hilton, who I adore, Dave Hilton Sr., was the father of junior middleweight world champion Matthew Hilton and super middleweight champion Davey Hilton Jr. And he if his son Stuart not have died in a motorcycle accident.
Yeah, Stuart, that's my man. We was all together, man. He was a bad boy, though. God bless him. He was bad.
Died down in a motorcycle accident. He probably would have been.
Yeah.
All the Hiltons were bad.
And when Davey brought Matthew Hilton and his son to Miami Beach to the Fifth Street Gym, he showcased him for Angelo Dundee, and Angelo said to him, "I can't help you. They're already the best they are in the world. There's nothing I can add to them. You already achieved the goal. No one's going to beat them. So don't worry about it. Don't think.
Yep.
You're on the right track."
There was some tough boys, let me tell you.
And
there were some tough boys.
They
were some of my favorite Canadian fighters growing up.
Alex, Dave. Oh man, Alex could punch. Alex could punch. They wasn't scared of nobody. I don't care what nationality you was. They wasn't scared of you.
Scottish Canadian. David Hilton, Mr. Hilton, as I called him, was very good friends with Jack Dempsey, Tommy Farr, Jersey Joe Walcott. He was good friends with Ali. He was friends to the point where when they saw him in a place in New York or LA or anywhere in Canada, they would say, "Hey, Dave, come over." So he idolized these guys. David Hilton, Mr. Hilton, was the featherweight champion and lightweight champion of Canada. And he beat, one of the men he beat was Burke Emery. Burke Emery went on to be trained by Charlie Goldman. Goldman was the trainer of Marciano. Emery went on to train the great Art Hafey, who was a featherweight, and Art Hafey knocked out Ruben Olivares. So David Hilton's influence, Mr. Hilton's influence from the 50s will be felt.
The Schwab.
He just passed away.
Yeah. Yesterday.
God bless his heart, man. He put so much excitement and enjoyment in our lives when I was growing up. The Hilton brothers,
I was with him.
They were infamous, alias, and serious, those boys.
Yeah.
I was with Davey Sr. He's really cool. Me and him really got along.
Yeah, they were tough.
Yep.
They were tough as nails.
Oh, yeah.
All Canadians are tough.
What nationality.
All Canadians are tough. We won all the wars.
Yeah, but the Hiltons had trouble getting sparring partners because they didn't scare worth a damn. You know, and if you hit them a good shot, they just laugh at you. So
that's true story. I witnessed it. At Don King's camp.
They were great.
Don King. Don King had them.
And I'm sure everyone on the panel wishes the Hilton family, his wife, and his children and grandchildren.
My condolences.
Yeah, absolutely. They're good.
My condolences to the Hilton family. Rest in peace, Senior. Thank you for everything.
Yes. Well said.
Okay.
And that was our moment of silence, by the way.
Yeah.
That was right on time too.
Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely was. Listen, if there's nothing else on anyone else's mind, let's wind down the show and get on with that Sinicia Estrada fight.
That's what I was just gonna say. Don't forget, it's tonight, guys. Sinicia Estrada, Tim. I'm telling you,
That's right.
she's a good one.
Where can you watch it? Where can you watch it on?
ESPN, isn't it?
Yeah,
Graham, it's ESPN, right? ESPN?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's ESPN.
I don't got it, but I don't think I have it. I would love to see it. Okay, guys, I got tomorrow. I got to go to New York. I got to go to New York and then come back and do a lot of other stuff. I'll see you at the next show.
Yes.
If I don't got to babysit, okay?
Thanks very much, Tim. Appreciate time.
Yes.
All right.
Thanks, Tim. Love you, buddy. Thanks, there, Lou. Graham, thanks a lot for having me out here on the panel on Fridays. I love it. Lou, you're one of a kind, my friend.
Yeah, that's what all my ex-wives say.
I know, and they loved you remember that? It was love every time, right, Lou?
For a short time, but yes.
Did we ever decide though? We were talking at one point about Nonito Donaire, fighting Cabrera. Did we decide?
Santiago.
Oh yeah, Santiago. Sorry. So who's going to win? Sorry.
I like Donaire.
Yeah, I like Donaire too. He's got that vicious left hook still.
Yeah.
Even though he had a rough outing, a couple out,
Inoue knocked him out. Yeah.
Inoue knocked him out, second round knockout, but that's about the only glitch I've seen in a lot of years. He's a Hall of Famer, we all know.
And he's a great guy too.
Yeah, very nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we always love the Filipino fighters, Graham?
That's right, we do. We do. I was telling Neil on one of my shows the other day. I don't know if you know this, Lou, but if you've been to the Philippines, you would know. But if you go to a shopping center, they will actually have a boxing match in a shopping center. They love boxing that much down there.
Wow.
So, anyway.
Well, it's amazing too, just quick. I have a friend of mine who every year goes to the Philippines, Graham, and he brings Toronto Maple Leaf and Montreal Canadian jerseys and nets and sticks for all the kids. And man, they go bananas over there. They love the Canadians and the Leafs. But hey, boxing is their number one. They love Manny Pacquiao. We all know.
Yeah, but their first hero was Pancho Villa, was the flyweight champ. And after that, Flash Elordi was phenomenal fighter. He was like a god. He was bigger than Pacquiao.
That's it.
Wow.
That goes back a long way to
big history of fights in the Philippines, I'll tell you.
It goes back to the early 1900s when there was a promoter from the States living there who would find fighters and then sell Philippine fighters and then sell them off to the mob in New York. So there's a history there going back 120 years or so.
Oh my God, Lou, you never cease to amaze me, my friend.
If I can only monetize it, that was my uncle used to say.
I'm telling you, you're a plethora of information and you're a superstar in our minds. And thank you very much for your time. And Graham, obviously, of course.
Thank you. Yeah. By the way, one last thing. I've never seen Graham be grumpy. I don't know why you call him that, but
it's because we like him.
Okay.
My mom always said, if they're making fun of you, it's because they like you.
Because 9 times out of 10, I'm grumpy if I've watched a news clip, and on that news clip is Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn upsets me greatly.
Yeah, me too.
I think he's not really playing by the rules, I guess, and I really don't care. That's his business. But you know what I mean? There are certain rules and regulations, I guess, Lou.
There are. It's not just he's not playing by the rules. He doesn't care that he's not. He makes no attempt to hide it the way other people would hide it. He's flaunting the fact that I got money, I can break the rules, I can screw anyone in boxing, and he's going to pay for it one day. One day someone's going to walk up to him and either, plug him or bash his head in. Something will happen to him. You can't get away with that. You can't screw these guys in the States like that and not expect retribution.
Correct. Well, I wouldn't want to be him.
Neither would I.
Be careful what you wish for, right, Lou? All right, yeah. Friday night panel. Always a blast. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Neil. Thanks, Lou.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you, boxing fans around the world. We'll see you next Friday night. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell.